President Biden's historic nomination of Dr. Rachel Levine for HHS Assistant Secretary, which would make her the first transgender federal official to be confirmed, it's placed Rand Paul in the spotlight after what many are calling a very transphobic rant he made during his questioning with her. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
Genital mutilation has been nearly universally condemned. Genital mutilation has been condemned by the WHO, the United Nations Children's Fund, the United Nations Population Fund. According to the WHO, genital mutilation is recognized internationally as a violation of human rights. Genital mutilation is considered particularly egregious because, as the WHO notes, it is nearly always carried out on minors and is a violation of the rights of children. Most genital mutilation is not typically performed by force, but as WHO notes, that by social convention, social norm, the social pressure to conform, to do what others do and have been doing, as well as the need to be accepted socially and the fear of being rejected by the community. American culture is now normalizing the idea that minors can be given hormones to prevent their biological development of their secondary sexual characteristics. Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex?
So that was a part of what he was going through. So by the way, in what he was saying, obviously he's talking to Dr. Levine because she's the first transgender nominee that could potentially get confirmed for such a position like this. And so she must be the one that's in charge of doing of everything that's about this. That's his first thought, and also demonizing her as just for who she is. So she responded by the Mediaite explains. She responded by explaining that transgender medicine is, quote, a complex and nuanced field with robust research and standards of care, before offering to work directly with Paul's office on the matter, potentially to I would assume to educate him on it, since he doesn't know what he's talking about. And so he continued on. Unsatisfied with her answer, he asked her once again if she supports, quote, the reconstruction of genitalia and access to hormone blockers, bringing up Keira Bell, who's a British citizen whose sex was identified as female at birth before taking puberty blockers as a teenager. Paul claimed that Bell, quote, read something about transsexuals as a teenager, which encouraged them to transition before later regretting it. So he even went with the term transsexuals, which I'm sure he knows across the board with everyone who is an advocate for transgender folks to have rights to be able to decide and make their own decisions with who they are. We know that that's always used as an offensive term, and I don't think it was a mistake. So I'm not sure if this is going to hold up the nomination or if Rand Paul's just trying to make a point because no one's called him an a-hole in about a week. So that's the work he's doing in the Senate today.
So I'm going to let Aida go first here. I'm just going to note before I get into the substance of Rand Paul, an amazing coincidence of intersectionality. The topic we just talked about before this story of fighting for the $15 minimum wage and hashtag Don't Kill It Bernie is partly trending because Laverne Cox retweeted it. So I love fighters for the average person. I love them, love them, love them. And so let's stick together, let's fight together, let's win together. All right, I got many thoughts on what Rand Paul said, but Aida, go ahead.
You know, a leopard is not gonna change his spots, right? So my expectation of people who have shown up being exactly who they are, they don't change. I don't ever feel surprised when these people say things that are offensive. You know my religious background, Cenk, so you know that I know when the religious, when they're trying to rile up the religious people, because that was very trendy and very effective with this last election cycle. A lot of people were misguided through religion into this cult with these people. But I just think that, it's important that those of us who come from marginalized groups remember that the only chance that we stand is to stand in the gap for one another. And when we as people of color demonize transgender people and we exclude them from the struggle, they belong to us. If we say Black Lives Matter, then transgender lives, Black Lives Matter. Like, we cannot allow the people who hate marginalized people hate us all. They have an agenda to keep us all down, and that agenda is to divide us so that we can help them with the work. So when we hear these talking points and we hear this disrespect, We need to say no. We need to push back and say this is not okay, because this is the language that they use against all marginalized people. They have terms for us all.
Yeah. Now, let me just go head on to what Rand Paul is saying. So it's deeply offensive to compare it to genital mutilation, which is not in reality of their own volition. Okay, they do it to very young children. It has no relationship to trans folks at all, who are choosing to be who they actually are. So what Rand Paul is saying is, I don't really believe in freedom. And I don't want you to follow your beliefs. I want you to follow my beliefs. Yep. My interpretation of my religion says you shouldn't do this. So now I'm going to impose that on you because I never believed in America. I never believed in freedom. I never believed in equality. And I most certainly did not believe in justice. So I'm going to make the decisions for you, and I'm going to impose my religion on you because I think Saudi Arabia has it right. We should be a theocracy where we enforce fundamentalist religion on everyone else. You want to make a decision to be your true self? Rand Paul hates freedom, and he doesn't want you to have that option and be an actual free American. That's just a fact. It's a fact. So Rand, I don't give a damn what you think we should do with our bodies.
That's right.
You can go and take that for a walk.
But isn't it ironic, Cenk, that he's using religion he's condemning what these people do. A lot of this mutilation is in the name of religion, right? A lot of this, yes, the mutilation in other parts of the country, right? And at the same time, condemning it when it comes to the people here. It's just, they use religion when it's beneficial to the agenda. But if they really were about the religion, then they wouldn't treat people the way that they're treating them. And that is why I can't rock with them. You can't call yourself a Christian if you are speaking to a human being the way you're speaking to them, knowing that the language that you're using is offensive and painful. And that's why I don't trust these people. They're hypocrites. They're not religious. They're power hungry, and they use whatever they can, religion included, to keep the average person down.
Yeah, did Jesus say, keep the lowest among you down and I will reward the rich? No. He said the exact opposite. He would have washed their feet if he was around. He would have taken care of the lowest, the ones who needed him the most. These sick fundamentalists like Rand Paul, they think, no, if someone's low, you kick them because you can. And you do it on behalf of the powerful. We're not interested in your tyranny. We're interested in liberty and freedom. And Democrats, please stop asking them to apologize. Go attack them politically. Point out with facts that they are the anti-freedom party. They hate the idea of freedom. It's a fact. Why don't you say it? Why do you let them own words like freedom when they hate the idea? No, I will not listen to your interpretation of your fundamentalist religion. I'm not in your religion. I'm an American. I believe in freedom.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, Jayar. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.